On the Script, where you find great movies and great conversation. Let's get started. Today's movie is Black Panther. Want to have a moment in silence for our lovely Chad Boseman. Act 1. Okay, Black Panther, of course, is a hero movie and is connected to several other movies, but in Black Panther, just of itself, we see him basically do what he does, putting on his suit, going around helping, trying to wrangle different things, different situations. And as we go along, the movie is based around his family dynamic. So his family dynamic, he finds out that his uncle and his father killed his cousin's father, finding out later that his cousin has been an orphan and left after his father was killed, and he finds out that their family and that his father and his uncle were the causes of that. As the first act goes along, we're kind of seeing this play out with this unexpected rivalry. And when I say unexpected, Black Panther did not know of this cousin, didn't know of what his father and his uncle had done. So in the whole sense of, if you know the backlash, his dad had just passed away. He's taken over as king of the kingdom, and now on top of all of that, he has a cousin who's a rival. Act 2. So in Act 2, we are watching the fight happen. We're watching him defend himself as king through his own family, his own culture, as well as this rival cousin who is completely infuriated with the kingdom Wakanda because they were the cause of his father's death and of him becoming an orphan at a small age. With this fight, we can see that he's trying to hold on to his kingdom, but at the same time having compassion for his cousin, because he realizes that it's not his fault that his life ended up that way. And so in the end, he pretty much had to fight his way back. In this fight, he lost his kingdom to his cousin. He had to fight his way back. Actually, I'm not sure if he actually killed his cousin. I hope he didn't. But anyway, to regain his place as king in the end. And there we go. Now let's move beyond the script. When I go beyond the script with Black Panther, I looked at it as a movie of unexpected challenges. And it did remind me of our lives right now in 2020. I noticed that King T'Challa did not expect to have this regular fight as king. I'm gonna protect my kingdom. I'm gonna make sure I'm making decisions that that help my community and help my family, and also push us towards greater in the future. But in his having to take the throne after his father passed, it wasn't just taking the kingdom. He started to have issues, family issues, hidden secrets he had to deal with. This is not even, as king problems. These are situations and things he didn't know anything about, living his life not knowing. And so at the end of the day, I feel like me going beyond the script, God was telling and showing us that you can still be prosperous even if you have no idea what you're up against. In March, we got hit with something none of us had any idea what it would be like. But we have the opportunity and the chance to have victory in this situation. Just don't give up. Have faith. Keep fighting and don't quit. So now, my favorite part of the show, it's time for our peer thoughts. And I think I'm gonna let my son tell you who's coming today. Wait and see. Welcome, Clash Royale.
All right, guys, we are here with Jordan McClanahan.
Yeah, you said it. Yep.
Yippee! AKA Clutch Royale.
Clutch Royale.
The artiste. Yes. Awesome. Look him up. He's amazing. Great music. And now we shall go beyond the script with the very one that's dear to my heart. Black Panther.
Yes. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. Oh my God, a hero. An awesome man. A legend in his little time. Real. Okay, so what is, we'll go beyond the script. What is your first impression after we talked about this? Because I know you've seen the movie hundreds and thousands of times.
Yes.
And I can't wait for you guys to hear this accent because he's like amazing. For real, he should have been in the movie, for real. But now that you were thinking about beyond the script, what is the first thing that comes to you? What did you think about?
When I first saw the movie, I wanted to, I saw it from it hit from a more cultural standpoint.
Okay.
You started to see a lot more African Americans coming out and connecting, wearing the dashikis, like getting into not just the character, but the culture, bringing back something that, this was our first quote unquote current black superhero that we've seen.
Right, right.
So for a lot of kids, this is a new hero,
Right.
This is someone that I can look up to. And then when you get into the deeper standpoints of it, you could see the story of the prodigal son.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
From a moment where you saw that T'Challa didn't want to be the king. He didn't want to do that.
Right.
So he was trying to go.
Right.
He was not trying to do, that type of quote unquote royalty. But what you're called to is what you're called to.
Right.
So
you have to do it. Yeah.
no matter how far you go, no matter what path you stray from, eventually that path is going to curve. And it's going to go back to where you're intended to be.
Right.
So for him, it was, once his father died, it was, you have no choice now.
Right.
Lead.
Right.
Your people are waiting for you to lead.
So
it's a jump. So it was for me, it was deep because it shows the deeper meaning of, you may not be in your mind ready to lead, but no one is.
Right.
No one's ready to lead when the call's there. It's something that has to click in you. And that's what happened to him. It clicked. He had to go through the fights. He had to go through the people telling him that he wasn't a king. He had to go through the enemy trying to take his throne. He had to go through those moments the entire way through to be able to lead and be the king that was intended for him to be. You couldn't just walk right into it. The trials happened pretty quick. You know what I mean? immediately.
Boom, boom, boom. Right.
Day one, I'm king. Day two, I just got kicked off a mountain.
Right.
You know, it's
right.
It's those, you know, I can truly understand, and then even in the process, you lose people on the way.
True.
You know, he lost friends.
Uh-huh.
There's sacrifices that have to go into this. You know what I mean? Because he lost friends, he lost family.
Right.
He lost.
Right.
There was betrayal.
Mm-hmm.
There were so many things that were so deep enclosed in the family dynamic.
Right.
You know,
and not to mention, that's crazy that you say that, because, and not to mention, you don't really have even enough time to focus on this, because at the same time, I'm trying to save my world. I'm trying to save our humanity.
Exactly.
At the same time,
my family's falling
I
apart.
haven't grieved my father.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't grieved the fact that my father made terrible decisions.
Yes.
Decisions that are now coming back on me. Dang.
That now he has to reap the benefits
right.
of the seeds his dad sowed.
Right. Now I wouldn't have did that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But you're gone now, and it's my responsibility. Dang.
And it's crazy. It's wild when you really see there's so many correlations, and then, you know, you can really correlate it to a lot of movies or even homes that we see today.
Mm-hmm.
You take the superhero aspect of it out.
Right.
There's so many families that are like that.
Right.
You
right.
know what I mean? And
right.
it's unfortunate, but it goes to see, because you even look at the end, it was when they found him, even his closest enemy at the time was the one who saved his life.
Yes.
And it really wasn't his enemy to begin
right, with. Right. He just didn't believe he was capable. And he wasn't. let's just go and put it out there.
Right. And so it became that moment where it's you know, he's still someone who he respects at the end of the day. And that's how he said it. He was like, a life for a life. You know, like, he saved his life. That was his moment. And at that moment, he knew that his life was worth saving.
Right.
Because he also had a decision to make.
True. As a leader.
He could have let him die.
Right.
He could have waltzed
Been
right
petty.
in.
Yeah.
Yep. And could have waltzed right back in.
Right.
And had to face Killmonger. And
yeah. You're at my mercy.
Would have got killed.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That reminds me of Joseph.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? At this point, I really could just watch you suffer.
Yes. And the decision had to be made. You know, and that story is so crucial. You know, you really have to, once you really look, you know, no pun intended, once you look beyond the script,
right.
You know, you really start to see a lot of similarities and a lot of things that connect with your own personal life.
Right.
And that's what makes it so much better.
Right.
So much better.
Okay. With that being said, connecting to your own life. Wait, first I want you to elaborate. Don't forget that question though, but connecting to your own life, because I want to know how that works. But then getting an understanding of the prodigal son. Because in my mind, I'm thinking, are you thinking about Michael B. Jordan's character, or are you thinking about T'Challa's character?
I'm thinking about T'Challa's character.
Okay.
I could correlate the prodigal son to Killmonger. However, given the history behind it, he was really only going to claim what was his because it was unlawfully taken from him.
Right.
So it was no one knew that he had a son. So they kind of just left him there. So he's dealing with rejection, hate, rage. He's dealing with everything that is, you know, that we see, because he's lived in the trenches. He watched his father die from his own brother, you know, and it's a whole, now became something bigger. His mind is fixed on something else. He has one goal in mind.
Right.
And was to claim what's his, but at the same time. Right.
And the prodigal son only came back because of weariness.
Yes.
And because of, I just don't have anywhere to go. I had hit rock bottom. Yeah, you're correct. That's cool.
Because T'Challa was like, you know, when they first introduced him in Civil War, and he was just the right hand of his dad, and his dad did mention, if I'm not mistaken, that he will one day take this throne, and you can tell from there he was like, I'm not trying to do all that. He was trying to do what Lupita's character was doing. I forget my mind isn't, but she was the one that was going out and actually helping. That's something that
That's the girl with the stick.
Yes. No. That's the one that he picked up in the jungle.
The one he kind of wanted to be his wife. Yeah.
And she's out and about. She's helping people who are not really part of
that need the help.
Exactly. And so you can tell that that's the vibe that he was on in Civil War. Right. But then when his dad died, it was like, I know what I have to do. Right, now. So now I have to, you know what I mean? Now I have to do it. Because his dad, if I'm not mistaken, the way they already had it set up, he was, he already wore the suit before he was king. So,
Oh, right. Yeah, right. Because we saw him before his dad got blown up in that. I'm not even sure which movie it was. But
Civil War. He was already in the suit. So he wasn't even king yet. Right. So it was like, he could be Black Panther without being the king of
Wow. I even thought about it.
Because his dad's too old to be the Black Panther.
Right.
So his son now takes that.
The fighting warrior.
He does the warrior side. He's like, in essence, you're my head of security. You're my muscle while I
right. Which is a good place.
It's like with Odin and Thor.
Right.
It's the same concept.
Right.
Odin's not fighting anymore.
Right.
But Thor and Loki are doing all the fighting for him.
Right.
But eventually, one of them will be
when
king.
you're ready.
Exactly.
Yeah. To make better decisions and things like that.
Because Odin used to fight. Odin was Thor at one point.
Right.
There's a whole cycle, and it gets so that's where it kind of was at that point. So he wasn't king yet. He could still, do what he has to do as Black Panther. Right. And that's where that whole, I don't want to be king, but now you have to. Right. You know what I mean? Like, had his dad not passed, we'd probably see a different story. Right. Where Killmonger might come up and be like, now everyone's alive and can discuss how we do this. Right. We may see something totally different.
Right. That's true. But, okay, going back to the question. Okay. Now that you've elaborated on that part, going back to what you said about how you found a connection with yourself and how you can find yourself in this movie.
I think if you look really hard, you could. For me, it wasn't that hard. Right. Because I try to look at similarities of how Marvel does a really good job at creating life moments within their movies. Right. So.
See, you need to put him in Black Panther too.
That's what I'm saying, man. You're strong. Do my own stunts.
Yes.
Only on the first day. After that.
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good. I'll do that. So, what were we talking about?
I don't know. I got
similarities.
Similarities.
So I look at the similarities, and it wasn't hard for me to realize, with Marvel putting those life lessons in there, I'm like, all right, let me see what it is. There were certain moments, the conversations that he's had with his dad after he passed and things like that.
Oh, right.
He said, he's failed, and all this, and they're having those heart-to-heart moments. I look at those heart-to-heart moments that I've had with my father at certain points, you know what I mean, where it connects, where it's like, we haven't maybe had a lot, in the, current years, but those heart-to-hearts are those ones that provide that level of healing. Right. You know what I mean? So you look at it as, okay, there's healing going on right here. There was brokenness going on right here, and I see it in my own life as, okay, I know from here, seeing it as at a certain point he hit rock bottom to get back to the top, but there was a working that had to go into it. So I look at it as, okay, if there's something in my life that was intended for me, that God has said, okay, this is for you. Like the word says, faith without works is dead. So I have the faith that I can get to a certain place, but I gotta work to it. Right. And so seeing T'Challa go from, I don't want to do it, to I have to do it,
right,
to I hit rock bottom,
right,
to I'm gonna work myself up and fight.
right. In a sense, as I'm gonna work myself and fight because I have to at this point. Because if I'm the only one that I'm the only one that can do it at this point, because you're gonna be taken over by somebody who does not have this community, this world, their best interest at heart. So I literally have to fight my way back to make sure that you guys are okay. Because
and the will to do it.
Right.
Because some people don't want to.
But I'm dead.
No
He's laying there. He's dead. I'm like, well, I'm dead. I'm alive. But he could have went with his mama and his sister and been living life.
Dipped.
Gone.
And no one
he
would have known.
got friends, and nobody would have known.
And that's that turning point from becoming something more. Because no one would have been mad.
Right.
You beat death, man.
Right.
So go live your life.
Right.
Because culturally speaking, rules were followed.
Right.
So Killmonger is king. So whatever
These
happens
are our rules.
is whatever happens.
Right.
So,
but at the same time, that talks about character.
Yes.
Because he understood the character. He understood the character of his people. Like the lady with the shit. I always call her Moshun from The Walking Dead. She's never going to be in Mushan, whatever her name is in Walking Dead. That's who she's been to me for. I love her, but I call her with the lady with the stick. So I won't, because I know that's not her name in this movie. But he knows that these women are not even just the women, just the men, even the other guy. They're so dedicated to this throne.
Yes.
And so even if they, if he knew that he would be sending all of these people out to just die, because they're, pretty much uncover all that we've built in the last centuries. And you feel me? And really just he wouldn't, he really didn't, that wasn't his motive. He did not care about the people.
Yeah.
And so at the end of the day, he had to fight because he knew these people would be loyal to him, loyal to the throne, to a default, to death.
The culture, to the quote unquote, the legalistic part of it.
Yes.
With you knowing that it's wrong, but you're still held into the legalism of the culture behind it instead of operating in kingdom.
Right.
What you know to be right.
Right.
Because this is one man.
Weird, but do you feel like that's how Trump supporters are?
Hey.
I know this is really strange, but the way you explained that, it was like, well, maybe they do see it, but they just like.
Nah.
He certainly.
Nah.
No, I just don't understand.
Nope.
Okay, let's move on.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Sorry.
Because
but I was just
I'll remain politically correct with this one. The reason why I say no is because there's clear evidence that indicates who he is.
Right.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so we discussed the prodigal son. We discussed how it connected to you. Okay, so let's discuss some scenes. How about going beyond the script because I would say this show had a most powerful scene, but of course I have to get permission to show movies. Anywho, so I think the most powerful scene, and I would like your take on it, is right after the fight between T'Challa and Michael B. Jordan, because I don't know his name. Killmonger.
Which fight?
Oh, right, they fight a lot.
Yeah.
The last one when he's about to die.
When he stabs him.
Yes.
Spoiler alert.
If you ain't seen Black
You ain't
Panther
seen it.
yet. No, seriously. So I felt like it was a very powerful scene And what was your take on that? Going beyond the script.
In order to be okay, so sometimes I feel like, okay, this is how I felt. That we're all called to be in a position of where God has called us to be, right?
Correct.
So wherever that is, that's contingent on whoever the person is, right?
Correct.
But with each one, I was just talking about this with somebody. You have to be willing to, there's certain things you got to be able to sacrifice.
Okay.
And so it's like if you correlate back to certain scriptures where it was, I want to say Abraham was supposed to sacrifice his son.
Yes.
And right before he did it, God said stop.
Yes.
And then
ram in the bush.
Yes, the ram in the bush. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so if you correlate it to that, it was he didn't have. There was no other way around killing Killmonger. There was no other way around it.
Okay.
Because it would have been. What is it? There was one matter that was bigger than the other at one point. It is his cousin.
Right.
So it's his cousin. So this is a family member we're talking about, and it's the same level of that sacrifice that needed to happen in order for peace to be restored.
I get that.
So
I get that.
In order for, and I'm not looking at it from a standpoint of T'Challa had to kill him to become king.
Right.
Because he already was king.
Right.
But there are decisions as a king that may be hard for us, but is necessary in order for forward momentum to go.
Right.
It may not be affected to everyone because that whole interaction was only between them two.
Right.
So no one saw it.
Right.
You know, so it was a war going on outside. People are about to get affected. Thankfully, the city itself wasn't getting affected. The world was about to get affected.
Right.
So we're talking about something on a grand scale where billions of people are getting, are about to get affected. So you have people fighting for what's right.
Yeah, we don't got time for this.
Exactly. You got people fighting for what's right. You have people just following orders, still being legalistic, and then so there's a battle going on here, and then underneath there's an even more internal battle going on. And with that internal battle that's happening, it had to happen in order for peace to be restored above.
Right.
So it's those things where that scene was so deep because even after that, he sat there and just looked at he even commended him.
Right.
Hell of a move.
Right. Because I mean, honestly, I feel like I wasn't sure if he was dead. Like, watching the movie at the same time, I'm like, they have so many capabilities of keeping him alive. I wasn't sure he was even going to be dead. But I felt just like you felt, like, I get it. Like, it had to happen. It was almost like he had to kill his spirit. Because we got to think about this spirit that has grown inside of him, this hateful spirit, this abandonment, everything that he felt has grown in him for years and years and years. So you're not just killing this small little man. You're killing this huge demon that he has built since he was 10 years old, watching his daddy die on the ground. And so at the end of the day, it was like almost like I have to kill this demon. Like, even if his body is still alive, even if they, revive him in Black Panther 2, he will never be that. He killed that on the ground that day.
And then it's like, the only other way I can correlate it to quickly is in 300 when Leonidas threw the spear at Xerxes and it hit his face. That's all it took for him to fall because everyone thought he was a god. And then when he made him bleed, it was done.
Right.
So he killed the movement without killing the man. But unfortunately, where this was at, I didn't correlate it to he was killing his cousin.
Right.
I correlated to he had to end the movement.
Right.
and it was like
Right.
this is the only way it's gonna end.
Right. He had to end the hate. He had to end the anger.
And
Because the anger was making the decisions. The anger was having him send all these people out. We gonna kill everybody. You know, the anger, you know, and the hate were making all of these decisions. And so at the end of the day, it was necessary.
Right.
It was necessary. I'm still praying and hoping. And it's not because I truly love Michael B. Jordan.
Hey, great villain.
He
villain,
was so good.
Yeah.
It's not because I'm truly loving him, but the character in itself, I'm excited to see if they made him come back. I really would just be excited to see him on the other side because of the simple fact that, you know, that was a good move. And he honestly, at the end of it, it was full respect. And what had him in the first fight that they had, he didn't have no respect for him. That was just like, you know, just like the fight he had with his enemy that helped him out. Like, they just didn't respect him.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, they did not think he deserved the job.
And then afterwards, it was like, hey, you fit, man.
You're it. Yeah.
You got it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, there's nothing you could do. Like, and it was one of those things where it was like, you look at it from M'Baku's standpoint and from Killmonger's standpoint, because off of like tradition, it was either yield or die.
Right. This is the rule.
Yeah, you're either gonna yield or you're gonna die. And M'Baku was ready to kill him. Like, he was, hey, I'm ready to die.
Right.
And his pride, his pride was about to be his fall. Really quickly. And he's sitting there, yield or yield all, do it. You know, and he's like, I yield. And it was, for T'Challa, that was just enough for that breakthrough. But there was still more that needs to happen.
Yeah.
So here you go. You're going to fight again, but now you're going to... this is a totally different kind of fight. This is a different... Because... And this is a totally different kind of beast you're about to deal with.
Because the first one was, like you said, the first one was legalistic and religion. The second one, you fighting hate.
Yep. You fighting something that's purely against you. This is something that's going to take everything in you. And if you don't fight well, if you don't do the necessary steps that you were taught, you will be off of the mountain.
You're dead.
But if you think about it, it's like if we've all given those necessary tools to succeed, and even, you know, some of us have been in church our entire lives, right? So we have those necessary tools naturally and spiritually to go through what we need to go through that God has intended us to go through, right? But if we don't follow those steps to the T, you're going to feel it.
Right.
You'll know.
Right.
You stop doing something, yeah, you're going to feel it.
Wow.
And then it's going to hit, and you're going to be like, man, why am I having such a bad slump? Yeah, because you stopped following something. It may be hard for that work, because that growth takes work. So sometimes you may get tired. Sometimes you're like, oh, I'll skip those push-ups for today.
Right.
Let me skip this. But if you skip this will happen.
Right. Everything has consequences. Yeah.
Everything has consequences. So T'Challa was like, I'm gonna skip the king aspect. I don't want to really do this.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And he wanted to be the quote-unquote good guy.
Right. And
you can't do that with someone who wants to kill you.
And then here comes the bad guy.
Exactly. Because you can't do that with someone who wants to kill you.
Right.
You can't be the good guy. You know what I mean? And it's not like, not saying you got to be just as bad, but I'm saying you have to know that this is a fight now.
Right.
You're fighting for your life.
Right. And he was trying to tell him, it's really no joke. To me, I felt like Michael did just a phenomenal job from beginning to end. Even taking it back to when he was talking to the white woman about the spear.
Oh yeah.
And I was flabbergasted at how calm. You know, some say that psychopaths are calm. Their demeanor is calm. And it was just like, dang, like for real, it does something. It's chilling to watch somebody be so calm in a situation where they know is about to be violent. And you know what I'm saying? You just, whatever, you know, it is what it is. Like you're talking to, you know, the homie. You know what I'm saying? And so even in that, it kind of gave us a clue that this wasn't just like a regular rivalry.
Right.
You know, this gave us a kind of look into his world.
There's
like
motive.
There is no, you know, calmness, no compassion. There's no, you know, sensitivity.
Right.
None of that is in here.
Right, because you got to think
Just so
about
you know.
you got to think about the journey that it took, even before he robbed the museum,
Right.
of who he was as a person,
Right. All
as
the
a child,
marks.
all the marks.
Right.
Those are bodies he's taken,
Right.
and they're throughout his entire
Body.
He's had practice taking the lives of people.
Right.
T'Challa has not.
Right.
So
Right.
it's something totally different from a man who's willing to end your life, and he will not bat an eye.
Right.
When we watched it
No
happen,
concern.
he killed Claw
Right.
quickly,
Without an issue.
without a thought.
Right.
He killed his own girlfriend without a thought. Done.
God.
Done.
Part of the
T'Challa's
mission.
not doing that.
Look, a part of the mission.
Exactly. It's a part. Everything is a part. This has to happen.
Right.
I am dedicated to end you.
Right.
And that's how the enemy is. The enemy is out to end you by any means. There's really no,
Kill, steal, and destroy.
Exactly.
Wow.
The enemy is out to kill, steal, and destroy, no matter what.
Right.
And no matter of who is in your way.
Right.
Because anybody can be affected.
Right.
Because if you think about Killmonger was only after the throne. So once T'Challa was out, everybody's sad, but you got to understand that the rest of the world is now affected.
Right.
So now, because the enemy achieved his goal, this is what is to happen. And so now the world may be, and like for them, it's the entire world.
Right.
But certain people's worlds are a little smaller.
Right.
So you leave or you get affected, you may change the trajectory of someone else's life that you are remotely affecting.
Right.
So it's like, it's not just you in that situation.
Right.
So the enemy is really, no matter who's in the way, I'm trying to get to my goal.
Right.
You may not be affected. I may go around you.
Right.
And
I'll get back to you
work with
later if you're too strong.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, I need to save my energy for who I really need this for. So I may go around you for now.
But I don't stop.
But I'm not going to stop. There's no stop. And you have to know that there's, you know, that constant fight's always going to happen, but you have the necessary tools to win.
Right.
Because T'Challa beat Killmonger now, yes.
Right.
But he's got so many other enemies.
Right.
You just got one.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's always going to be someone bigger and badder than the previous enemy that you had.
Right.
Because now you're prepared for it.
Right. Right.
You know, God's not going to give you something you're not prepared for.
Right.
So he's going to give you, so the little things that come in, the enemy's coming in, but God is blocking so much.
Right.
We just don't know that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Consciously, you're like, why is God doing this?
Right.
Why is he allowing this to happen?
Right.
But then it's like, you don't realize how much he's actually stopping. You know what I mean? And there's certain things that go through because we have to go through it.
Right. That's that whole Mr. Miyagi thing.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, it's true. Like, if he never had the fight with the first fight with the first guy, he never got the full concept that people was really trying to kill you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like,
M'Baku was not playing.
he wasn't playing. Like, for real, I'm finna take over
said,
the
we
skin.
will not have it.
Right. Do it again.
He said, we will not have it. I said, we will not have it. We have watched from the mountains.
It's so true.
Melissa! Melissa! It's challenged.
I love it so much. But yeah, I just thinking about just the comments that you made, for real, that's so true. Like, if he did not have that fight, he would have never been able to stay alive as he did with Killmonger and then even fight his way back. It's like every fight prepared him for the ultimate fight.
Exactly.
So it was just like, wow.
Because he had to go, you know, again, this is without powers twice. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, with M'Baku, that's just a bigger opponent. You know what I mean? Like, that's someone who's just built on brute strength.
Right.
That, you know, and that's a big opponent to do, especially one who's out to kill you. Just for honor, though.
Right.
You know, it's not hate involved in this.
Right.
You know, it's just strictly honor.
Right.
So we're going after this because I want to take this.
It's honor
this
and
is
law.
what I gotta do. When it came to Killmonger, you're dealing with doubt, you're dealing with hurt, you're dealing with guilt. This is all things that he was probably not feeling when he was going against M'Baku.
Right.
These are all things that have been brought down to him from his father. So now he's dealing with a lot of inner turmoil.
Right. Insecurities.
Yes, and now he has to fight someone who's just better. This is a, you know, bigger doesn't mean better necessarily. Right. So you may have someone that you can clearly see, this is a big problem I have to get through.
But I can't.
But I can. And then you might have a problem that might be so minute or the same size or something that is normal, but something you can never get over.
Right. Just too smart.
Because
just better at the game.
That, and it's something that is a true stronghold. You know, it's like I can never get over certain insecurities.
Right.
But I can get over someone yelling and cussing me out.
Right.
I can get over rejection, but I can't get over looking a certain way.
Right. And then the thing that I felt like his character had care. And you know, you hear this in movies a lot where, you know, your care and your sensitivity and your compassion is what make you weak.
Right.
That's what a lot of the antagonist and the bad guys say, because in a sense, in a sense it is, because I feel like the fact that he cared for people and was genuinely upset at the way his cousin's life ended up, he felt bad. Like at the end of the day, you come into a fight with somebody who could care less about your life and anything about you, and you're coming like, I can't even be mad at you because we made you like this. You're the weak link in these two people, because you just don't have that sure, you know, power to just fight to the death, because you understand him. You have compassion for him. And so at the end of the day, it was just like, dang, that first fight he had with Killmonger was like, dude. It had to happen, but I wasn't expecting it. Like, how was you going to win that? Because, you know, at the end of the day, both of y'all is bad. Y'all wrong.
And
y'all wrong.
He knew Killmonger knew what he was coming in there for.
Right.
You know, T'Challa has no idea.
Right.
He's just kind of like confused.
Right.
Hey, let's just talk about this.
Right. I'm
this
sorry. I didn't know they did this to you. You know?
You know what I'm saying? Hey, Kazo, you ain't gotta do all that. Remember when we wasn't cool? I didn't know you was around. We would have been friends.
We would have been tight. Right.
He was like, nah, you gotta take this L.
Right. Just because your title, man.
Just because your title and your daddy killed my daddy, now I gotta kill you.
I'm sorry.
This is what
That's
we got.
just what it is.
You know? We bring it to the hood, it's like, hey man, it's gotta be, it is what it is.
It is what it is. And you know what it is. So at the end of the day, go and take this little whooping.
It wasn't a whooping here. He was like, I gotta kill you. Like,
right.
And T'Challa was like, you know, hey,
I gotta fight. I gotta fight. You know?
I feel your pain.
I'm a king, right? I feel your pain, but I'm a king, and I have to, you know, I can defend my throne. Well, that was a conversation. That was amazing. Thank you very much, Mr. Patrial.
Thank you for having me.
Is there anything else you would like to say to the people?
Thank you. Watch Black Panther. Rest in peace to Chadwick Boseman.
Yes.
I don't know. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Clutch Royale.
Get that music.
Yeah, I got Soul Food Sessions, episode 5. 1 through 5 is out on YouTube. Just look it up.
Awesome.
I have music on all digital streaming platforms: Apple, Spotify, Tidal, Amazon, Google Play.
Maybe we can talk him into letting us play the video so you can see it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, go ahead. Do it.
Cool. All right. So the video will be coming right now.
Yeah.
First off, I wanna thank God for keeping me in check. Hallelujah when I gotta say less. Gotta thank my foes, God ain't through with me yet. My arms too short to box and I ain't holding a tech. This witty wordplay will have you missing what's left. See, I'm trying to give the youth a dream, not leave it to rest. I'm tired of the clout, the trends, and all the deaths. I'm trying to change the narrative and feed what's left. I tell you. Oh, how the time flies. Started with full dreams, I had to downsize. Made my vision plain, I gave it so many tries. Thinking the failing wasn't in tune with family ties. So I looked internally so I could master me. I put down all this breaking piece and picked up what was best for me. Started living different visions, had me on the master seat. A mumble for the few, but preparation has me overseas. So I had to clean slate. I told you we were eating, see the food on the plate. Motivated survivor, I promise it's never late. I'm showing you the game, so let me tell it to you straight. Like, keep your focus, keep the faith, and keep your knowledge strong. Invest in you to reap the fruit, then walk where you belong. Pray every day so you can live out free. Tomorrow is never promised, the enemy out for keeps. Like, you would think I had this all figured out. From the moment where my soul stepped out, the outer body experience made the new route. Made something from out of nothing, the people they dream about. Wanting that motivation, they strive for it. Shooting that 15 minutes of fame and they die for it. Missing the dedication at hand and they cry for it. Seeing the diamond deep in the rough, it's my time for it. I told you once I'm gifted. This wasn't something that I wasn't the cat up in the malls, pressing my tape, claiming I'm something. Didn't have a need for followers, antisocial man or something. Stayed well in my circle, limitations made with nothing. So I broke the box. Loose chains, lost minds, crazy, it don't stop. Past days, hard plays, stuck between the rocks. New ways, better days, I'm headed to the top. Follow me.
Don't forget to follow me, S. Gilmore.
Yes.
Beyond the Script. Make sure you watch your movies. Make sure you're finding God everywhere and anywhere that you go. Anything that you do. Thank you for being here. We'll see you next time. Thank you so much. Cool.
As your technological advances could not even save his own father from being killed. We will not have it. I said we will not have it. Ladies, we're gonna do it.
See? I'm not dead, am I? You're not king. I'm king. I'm either gonna do this the easy way or the hard way. You either give me back my throne or you shall die for what you did. Charge!
I'd like to tell you a story about the love I have inside of me is not where it should be, but it sure ain't where it used to be. I strive to be patient, I strive to be kind, not jealous of anything, no boasting on the